So, as you know, of course, Calvin Johnson has decided to retire from the NFL and the Detroit Lions. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I think it was time for him to go because I thought he was getting hit a lot. Teams were starting to figure out to start to match up with them better, even though he wasn't at his best. Um, Honestly, I think he's one of the best players to ever go down in history, at least so far as in my lifetime. Um, and the only other player you could possibly argue, actually two actually, that are up there with them are the Randy Moss back when he was at the Patriots back in '07, and as well as Philip Rivers. Let me tell you why about those though. Johnson, he basically was the Lions franchise since he was drafted back in '07, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. He he has seriously been he single-handedly helped us rise from the ashes to kind of where we are now. You get what I'm saying? Um, the dude put up insane numbers, same as Barry Sanders did back in the '80s, early '90s. I mean, those two were electric. I mean, we're talking about a guy who broke records, all kinds of records, now in Lions history, but now you're talking NFL history. And this is coming from a guy who has not won a Super Bowl yet. Now, players are trying to get him to change his mind because obviously every single player's dream, I would imagine, is to win a Super Bowl. That's like every football player's dream. To go down as one of those players to not win a Super Bowl, I think I seriously would give the guy a ring for staying with a franchise that was absolutely incompetent for years. The Millens of the world, Mayhew, um, Lawan, all those people in the front office who could not get the supporting cast around them to build a team that was capable of winning something. But he had to suffer through this. He did a lot for us, both on the team, but also off the team. For the city of Detroit, for considering where Detroit was at the time, and kind of helping them rise, at least helping the kids, helping the community, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. Don't get me wrong. I do believe, even though he hasn't won a Super Bowl now, though most of the players have won Super Bowl who have been really good have gone to the Hall of Fame. I do believe that Calvin Johnson will go to the Hall of Fame. I do believe that. With those numbers, Barry Sanders did it. He went to the Hall of Fame, so why not Calvin Johnson? Also believe Philip. As another player in the discussion too is Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers single-handedly helped San Diego to be somewhat respectable. I mean, not Super Bowl contenders, obviously, but at least not laughable. I mean, he basically has nobody, and he's breaking all these numbers, all these records he's setting. Basically, the only receiver he's ever had was maybe Antonio Gates. Maybe Antonio Gates. So we're talking about players who single-handedly help franchises rise up and be somewhat respectable. And I give him all the credit in the world for that. Now, because he's retired now, here's what I think is going to help us, or at least replace Johnson. Now, as far as the draft is concerned, first and foremost, we need offensive line. Now, I heard Taylor Decker from Ohio State. Oh, God, I hate saying that. Is a possibility. Um, basically we need offensive linemen because our offensive linemen for the past few seasons have been atrocious, and that's why people have been trash talking Stafford, and I don't blame Stafford for. I mean, there's some decisions of his I don't like, but not all of it's on him. So back to what I was saying, we need offensive linemen. We need at least one more defensive tackle. We need a linebacker. Um, and maybe another receiver. Now the receiver, I could see out of the draft. It just depends on where this guy ends up. It's out of Ole Miss, SEC country. Laquan Treadwell actually interests me. I I actually kind of like Treadwell, considering what he did. He he's somewhat similar. I wouldn't say he's exactly, but somewhat similar. Just the height, the athleticism, the speed, the yards after catch. Um, so that's as far as the draft is concerned. As far as free agency is concerned,